Here's our last video for this topic, and it's really looking at what happens as we go a step further and actually find particular solutions. So let me just remind you the difference between a general solution and a particular solution. So general solutions have plus C's or have a C. Now we notice that C doesn't have to be at the end, but somewhere in the solution. Particular solution means you have extra given information that allows you to figure out what that C value is, what that constant is. That extra information is going to be presented as a point. So we're still going to separate and integrate. So if you look at this first one, the separating is by cross multiplying. And then we're going to integrate. And then we're going to get y squared over 2 equals x to the third over 3 plus x plus c. Now, you can kind of decide how much simplifying you want to do. I wouldn't do a ton of simplifying at first, especially with ones like this that don't involve natural logs. I would plug in your x and y right away. So when I plug -4 in, I get 4 squared is 16 divided by 2 is 8. When I plug -3 in and cubed, I get -27 divided by 3 is -9 plus -3 plus c. So I get a -12. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So I get 20. So that's my C value. You are going to have to look at delta math, and actually I'll look at a couple of them just to see how they want your answer written. If they don't specifically say that you have to get y by itself, then you are going to be okay to leave your answer as is. If they do want you to get y by itself, you're going to have to do a little extra work. Let me mention that just in case. So when you get y by itself, you're going to multiply everything by 2, which is going to give you y squared equals 2/3 x cubed plus 2x plus 40. And then you're going to have to take the square root of both sides. And I do want to mention something that shows up with this. When I take the square root, let me write all this down again. What we know from Algebra 1 is square root involves positive or negative when you square root both sides. You're actually not going to put both. You're going to look at the initial condition, and that will tell you if it expects a positive or a negative. So since my initial condition is negative, a negative y value, that means it wants the negative version of the square root. If the initial condition, if that point had a positive y value, it would want the positive. But again, you want to take a look at delta math and see how do they expect you to write your answer. Often on the AP test, they do expect y by itself, so it's a great practice to get into. Here's another one. Same thing, it wants a particular solution. Now this one actually says it wants y by itself. So I guess I kind of answered that question for you. If it tells you that it wants your solution in y equals format, that means that you do have to get y by itself. So we're going to cross multiply to get it separated. Y dy equals x squared dx. We're going to integrate both sides. So we get y squared over 2 equals x to the third over 3 plus c. You can either get y by itself now, or you can find c. I usually find c first. So if I plug my point in, my 3 and my 6, I'm going to get 6 squared is 36 divided by 2 is 18. 3 cubed is 27 divided by 3 is 9. So subtract 9, I get c to be 9. So I have y squared over 2 equals x to the third over 3 plus 9. To get y by itself, I'm going to multiply everything by 2, which is going to give me y squared equals 2/3 x cubed plus 18. And then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Now notice my initial condition is positive, so I'm not going to put plus or minus. I'm just going to do the positive square root. You don't even have to put a little positive in the front. You're going to get 2/3 x cubed plus 18 under a positive square root to get your answer. So that's the difference between what delta math does and what some of the earlier examples is. They will have you go a step further to find your C value, which gives you a particular solution.